Welcome to enVisioning Success, the weekly podcast where Laura Di Benedetto and Julia Becker-Collins share tips, suggestions, and stories to help you succeed in business. In today's episode, we discuss the 5 main benefits of a business website, such as comprehensive access to your data, the ability to control your message and credibility, the chance to capture more leads, and the stability of online ownership. And now, here's Laura and Julia.
Yep, it's just us goofing off in the green room again. Hello, I'm Laura Di Benedetto, and I'm joined by Julia Becker-Collins. This is enVisioning Success, and we're here to help you kick ass, take names, make a lot of money, and have fun while you're doing it. So, if you don't think you need a website, you'd be wrong. And this episode is dedicated to proving that and giving you some alternative points of view so you can make a lot of money. I know websites are expensive, especially good ones. Yes, you can slap together a piece of crap on Wix or something else. Sorry, Wix. But yeah, you can build a piece of crap that checks the boxes. But should you build a piece of crap? No, you should actually build an important thing for you because it's kind of your online home. And social media is not your home. You don't own it. You borrow it. So you don't even rent it. So if you want to own the traffic, you really want to control the narrative and make sure that you're the boss of your brand, you want to have a website. So this show is sponsored by Vision Advertising. We're celebrating 25 years. I'm still not used to our new name. We're actually renaming to just Vision because we're visionaries. You see what I did there? And yeah, so I'm super pumped about all of the things we've been able to help people with over the years. And of all the things that we've ever helped people with, websites have always been number one because that's usually the gateway drug for marketing. People will realize, oh my God, this website is actually amazing. You mean I could get business? Yes. You mean I could get leads? Yes. So, oh boy, let's dive in. This is good stuff. So we're going to be talking about 5 actionable tips that are going to help you to make sure that you make a good decision and also give you a whole bunch of other lovely side notes because that's kind of how we roll. What do you think, Julia?
I mean, I have a lot to say about this because I hear oftentimes that people are like, I don't need a website. I have a Facebook page. I don't need a website. I have an Instagram page. I don't need a website. I have an Etsy page, whatever it is. And on one side, I'll say that you don't need a website to start your business.
That is true.
You shouldn't be waiting for things to be perfect. You shouldn't be waiting to finish your website to be able to start sales. But as Laura mentioned, your website should be the home base for all your marketing. All your marketing should get directed to your website. You should be driving everything to the website. The website is really the only thing you own in your marketing. You don't own social media.
No, you own your email too. You forgot that one.
Yes, you do own your email, but you don't own social media. If you read the terms and conditions, they actually own. The company owns all the images, all the content, everything. And if it goes down or you get booted or you get restricted, bye-bye marketing.
I may have been there and done that.
But it also happens for a million different reasons. Like you get hacked, whatever. And it can happen and suddenly it's all gone.
Yep. So control, if you're a control freak like I am and you like to make sure that things actually go your way and you're the boss, and no one can take you down and blah, blah, blah. You want to make sure that you actually have the control and you want to, have your own website. So the other things about this is it gives you full control over the content of it, the brand narrative. If you have a slightly contentious business or something that not everybody agrees on, like ammunition, like one of my previous companies, not everybody likes ammunition. Not everybody supports the Second Amendment. I get that. Guess what? You can't say what you want in social media about ammunition, but you can on your own website. You can say what you want. You can showcase your customer reviews, like our last episode, which you should go listen to. You have autonomy. You have freedom. You can say whatever you want. You can have downloads. You can have intake forms. You can have pictures. You can actually showcase everything. Like marijuana, for example. There's tons of great businesses out there that are doing marijuana and CBD, and they're doing great healing modalities. those are still kind of not always widely popular. Well, guess what? If you're not held by someone else's standard, you get to do what you want.
Correct. You really are master of your own domain with your website versus being held to the restrictions or the ownership on a different platform.
Yep, 100%.
Absolutely. It also enhances your credibility. Having a professionally designed and developed website shows that you are a legitimate business, especially in this time of people never know what's a real business or is this a Russian scam, etc. It shows that you are who you say you are, that, like we were talking about last episode with positive and negative reviews, it enhances your credibility. It shows that people trust you and it shows that you're legitimate. A well-designed site establishes that strong first impression, especially when, you're on Instagram, you get an ad for something and you click over to it and it's like, well, am I really going to get this when I order it? Or are they just going to steal my information? Versus you go to the website and you're like, oh, this is like a full company and they're just investing in social media advertising. Oh, okay, I'm going to order that sweater or whatever it is because it'll come and it'll be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it really gives you a chance to make a great first impression.
Yes.
I'll give you a great example just to dovetail off of that one.
My favorite word.
I know. Think about what would happen to you if you're an Apple user and you love iPhones and whatever, or you never bought one before, but you really wanted to. What would happen if you first went to the Apple website and it was just atrocious?
Right.
Would you really want to buy it? No, it would give you low consumer confidence. Alternatively, if you go to the website and it's dazzling, which it is, Apple builds an unbelievable website. Incidentally, I'm listening to the Steve Jobs biography. I had no idea he was such a filthy little hobbit when he was first getting Apple off the ground. Dude didn't shower. He was smelly. He was barefoot. What an interesting book. Total side note. Anyway, he did know how to design a great website and build credibility. And when you dress well, when you enter a room, people think better of you. When you dress for the job you want, not the job you have, you're more likely to get it. So think of your website as a finely tailored suit, not for a human body, but for your business.
Yep. In a past episode, we talked about what is your brand and what is branding. One of the things we said was your brand is what people are saying about you when you're not in the room. And your website is something that shows up as part of your brand and showcases you and what you offer when you are not there. It's a representation of your company and it needs to be a well-designed and developed one.
Absolutely. So the next thing we want to talk to you about is owning your data. So I mentioned this a little bit because Julia said that, websites are really the only thing you own. And then I mentioned the email. I don't mean your email address. Yes, you own that. I mean your email list. Mm-hmm. This is really important. So unlike social media, like your Facebook page, your Instagram account, whatever, you don't even rent those. You actually just borrow those. But then when you pay money to advertise, you're renting that traffic. When you have email addresses that people have opted into, you own that traffic. Mm-hmm. And guess what? You can use your website to capture traffic that belongs to you. This is especially important for anything that's remotely contentious. If you're out there selling mouse pads, nobody cares. It's not contentious, okay? But listen, like we mentioned, certain things that are hotly debated, like the subject of marijuana, that's not an area that our agency touches. It's just too strictly regulated and it's too difficult to market. But let's say you're doing that. It's essential for you to have all of your email addresses because you can and probably will be shut down multiple times across social media because they just hate you. And there's nothing you can do about that. So the more you own your data, the more freedom of speech you have, the more you are basically immune to algorithm changes, the more you are immune to outside forces. You'll always have a direct line of communication to speak directly to your customers.
Yep.
So you really want to use your website to capture your own damn data and build your own lists.
A couple of years ago, Facebook went down. All of Meta went down, which is Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp. They all went down. I think it was 2021. And I think it was for about a day. And one of the big conversations was around, so what happens if you had a big marketing campaign that was supposed to launch that day? What if you're in the middle of trying to sell your products for the holidays? How is a third-party website going to affect your productivity and your profitability? And we have a past blog post that we can share in the description for this podcast episode that's all about what do you do if your marketing went down during that time and how do you future-proof that?
Mm-hmm. The great meta outage.
Yep.
I mean, it really forces you to think differently because you take these things for granted. You think of your LinkedIn account as yours. It's not.
Correct.
It's not. I actually found this out the hard way because, I have a big mouth. I don't mind pissing people off. Oh, and I have. And I will continue to do it. And I've been deplatformed multiple times. And, it really forced me to realize, even though I know this, right? Just as a marketer, sometimes we get a little comfortable in our own world and like, nah, I'm good. I got this. Actually, you need to be careful. We all do. So it just forces me and now you to realize you got to own it.
Yeah.
You got to own it. So now I put a lot of emphasis on getting people off of the social platforms. I try to get people to my website. I want them to learn about me. I want them to opt in and, hey, we could lose touch at any time.
Right. Right. And this is, in past episodes, we've talked about calls to action. Call to action is that you're having the viewer of your marketing do something with that marketing, and marketing should always be driven towards an action. And most of the time, the action is going to your website, whether that's buying a product, reading a blog, filling out a form, etc. But those calls to action should be driven to something that you own.
100%. So the next thing on here that's actually directly relevant to this is capturing more leads. If you are in a professional service like we are, we sell marketing services, you need leads so you can have business and sales conversations. Let's say you have a product and you sell it on your website. You need to capture leads through that too, because sometimes people will go to your website and they won't buy the first time they go to your website. They'll see your social media ad and whatever. But you actually need to be able to have an opportunity to capture the data and capture the lead so they can be remarketed to. And you cannot build a landing page, which is how you sell and close sales online, if you don't have a website. You cannot build data capture. You cannot do anything that supports the growth and life of your business and making money, which is the lifeblood of your company, without a website. I understand, especially the folks who are like into the crafty stuff and they have like Etsy pages. Yeah, but I don't need that. Again, Etsy is not yours. Mm-hmm. You're either borrowing it or you're renting it. It's not yours. What happens if you get kicked off?
Right.
How are you going to sell in the back end? Back end selling is like through email funnels and stuff like that. You can do unbelievable things just through email. Right. But it begins with websites.
Right.
So,
yeah. Hard agree.
I think we're really hammering the point home. You need a website. I hope so.
I know.
Hammer.
I know. I've sat through so many, like when I lead in-person workshops, and it's whether it's a small business owner or a new business owner or somebody crafty, like you were saying, well, I don't have a website. I don't need a website. I just am on Instagram and I have a, Etsy shop. And it's like, well, if you had a Shopify store for your website, you could sell directly through Instagram. And if that platform gets taken away or shut down or your email gets hacked or whatever, suddenly you have no business.
Yep.
So I don't know how to better emphasize that you need to own part of your marketing.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of owning as much of it as I possibly can, frankly, just because I just don't trust these third-party platforms. I don't trust them to be objective, which they're not. I don't trust them to be safe, to hold all my data. They get hacked sometimes. And I don't trust them to hand over data and be transparent about how it's used, because they're not. So if you actually want to be successful, I encourage you to be a baby control freak. Just saying.
And our last point for our actionable tips today is to ensure stability. And this is just, again, driving home the same point that we've been saying this whole episode. Social media platforms can change rules. They can reduce organic reach. They can shut down. Maybe you really bought into one of the platforms at like Clubhouse, which has basically die to slow death.
Yeah, I knew that was going to die. I never bothered with that.
Right. But it's, maybe you really went whole hog on it and suddenly it's not there anymore. A website is stable. It's a long-term investment in your brand and in your company. And it's an asset for your online presence. And like we keep saying, it's your home base. Everything should be driving there. So even if you're doing social media marketing, which I love social media marketing, especially if your ideal client is on social media, it should all drive to your website. Everything you're doing should be driving to your website. And then in addition to that, you can be capturing all that data in the back end of the analytics. Where are people coming from? What's working? What's not working? Google Analytics is a free tool that you can be installing on your website. And then you can see what's going on. And it kind of lifts the veil of, what's working in marketing, where are the leads coming from.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's very true. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, this all comes down to control, really.
Mm-hmm.
All of it. I mean, all of the points. Like, first one, control your narrative. Yeah, you want to control what you say. Your credibility. You want to control your credibility.
Right.
The third one, you want to control your data. You want to control your lead flow and control stability. Be a control freak. I couldn't be a super freak. I don't know.
I love it.
I feel like, if I was ever going to have like a hit song, it would be like, control freak. Ah!
I know. We're going to have songs for every episode.
Buy my new album. Out now on iTunes. Hi, I need help.
Oh, boy. Good times.
Hey, whatever. We're all here to have fun. So anyway, in summary, if you want more control, and yes, you do, you need a website. So take all these notes and make sure that you think about having a website. Now, here's a few parting tips to leave you with, because we do have a few minutes left that we can share with you on this episode. What do you want in a website, and how much should a website cost? The more you want a website to do, the more it will cost. A good website is going to cost beginning at $5,000. We strongly recommend that people build on WordPress because it is really solid. It is like built for search engine marketing, which we went into in detail in the last episode where we were talking about reputations. You really want to carefully think about the functionality of your website. And when you're thinking about the budget, everybody wants the Apple website, okay? It's nice to want things. Julie is famous for saying that. Now I say that all the time. Thank you so much. But here's the thing about it. Not everybody's going to have the Apple website. Those cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. You don't need that. What you need is something that is clean, attractive, makes the points, and sells effectively for you and captures information. So to get that, you need to separate your needs from your wants and pay for your needs. And as budget allows, then invest in the wants. Have everything you want, but you should be very discerning and not ask for the sun, moon, and stars and then get mad at you when your web developer is like, well, actually, that's going to be $30,000. Did you need all that? No, probably not. Start with the necessities. Think about it from a sales perspective. I'm going to say this until I'm dead. Take your big, stupid feelings and put them in the bin. It's not about what you want. It's about what your customers need in order to feel comfortable with you, so they're willing to part with their hard-earned dollars to take a chance on you, book that sales meeting with you, buy the $5 item. Like, you need to build know, like, and trust factor, and your website can do that. So when you're thinking about your website, realistically, you're going to be looking somewhere probably in the $5,000 to $10,000 range, depending on what it is that you're looking for. Most brand new businesses are going to be probably to the lower end. If you've been around for a while and you actually know what lead capture is and you know what sales mechanisms you need, you're going to be closer to the 10 to 15. And guess what? An established business can afford those things. Mm-hmm. So think about this stuff. No, a website will not last forever. Yes, you'll need to redo it every 3 to 5 years. Yes, it will pay for itself. This is something where websites will take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to build, depending on functionality. And ultimately, the more transparent you are, the more flexible you are about your wants, the more rigid you are about your needs, and the actual sales functionality of your website, the more likely you're going to be happy, pay a lower fee, and make money, because that's the whole frickin' point of this show. So that sticks a bow on this episode. We appreciate you being here, as always. Do us a favor, since we were just kind of dropping some hints about reviews and reputation and whatnot, please leave a nice review for our show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It really helps. And maybe we'll actually get into the triple digit of listeners at some point. Hey, everybody starts small. We have no ego here. All that in mind, thank you for being here. Wait till you see the next episode or hear it. We're going to be talking about marketing budgets. There's a lot of myths around that one. I'm not even going to spoil it for you. Just make sure you tune in. We'll see you next week.